Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Bachelor in Paradise News. Please subscribe and keep watching for more details. I am your friend Alana B. Let's start. Golden Bachelorette. What illness does Dan Roemer have? Undeniably, Golden Bachelorette, Joan Vassos has a tough decision to make ahead of her. While it is a great problem, has to quickly meet and get to know 24 men. Furthermore, Joan has discussed how it is very hard to date at her age. Without a doubt, aging comes with extremely tricky challenges just on its own, but adding flirting on top is even more arduous. But in episode 2, Dan Roemer reveals a major health concern to Joan. What illness does he have? Joan Vassos has challenges ahead. In the first ever season of Golden Bachelorette, Joan Vassos is taking on the challenge of dating in her 60s. While she explains that she had a great experience on the show, it was still a difficult process to date 24 men at once. In the first week, 6 men, Bill, David, Ken, Pablo, RJ, and Thomas, left the mansion. However, Joan got a chance to get closer to the remaining men. Unmistakably, they are all growing more and more fond of one another. Sadly, during week 2, she said goodbye to 4 more great guys, fan favorite Jack, Bob, Christopher, and Michael. Undoubtedly, it is getting hard to pick who has to go. Although they are only in the second week, it is clear bonds are forming with Joan. Previously, she has discussed that dating in a person's 50s and 60s comes with the challenges of life not going as planned. For instance, some of the cast has lost partners to illness, including Joan. Others have gone through divorce, raising kids, and even health concerns themselves. Dan Roemer has opened up about a serious illness that he faces. Dan Roemer shows his vulnerability. During the latest episode of Golden Bachelorette, Dan Roemer tells Joan Vassos about some of his health struggles. Undeniably, another difficult area of dating as someone ages is there are increasingly more health issues that come with it. Sadly, Joan has already experienced the death of her husband, John Vassos. But Dan was visibly nervous to compete in the talent show. However, it wasn't just about his skills. Instead, it required him to be very vulnerable about his health problems. However, Dan was a good sport. He stood before the judges, Joan, and his competitors with red streamers. Admittedly, he said he shakes due to tremors. Unfortunately, it is a genetic condition his father also dealt with. It was noticeable that his hands were trembling, but he chose to showcase it instead of attempting to hide the problem. Furthermore, he casually joked about how serious the ribbon dancing was since he spent minutes preparing. Joan loved he was silly, but also brave for sharing about his struggles. What illness does Dan Roemer have? After winning the talent competition for his raw honesty and humor, Dan Roemer earned himself a date with Joan Vassos. During the dinner, he further explained what the root of his tremors is. In 2015, Dan's diabetes reached a point where it was out of control. In Dan's case, his body experiences tremors. Sometimes these occur due to low blood sugar and other times from diabetic neuropathy. At that point, a doctor gave him the alarming news that he most likely only had about 6 months to live. He says, "This is the tough part of my journey. Every organ in my body was starting to fail and I was seriously sick." Furthermore, he shares he was shocked, and, it's one of those conversations, and I'm like, I've never even spent a night in a hospital, Undeniably, it was hard to share knowing it could be a deal breaker for Joan. Joan Vassos graciously accepts the news. While Golden Bachelorette, Joan Vassos could have balked at the news of dating a man with health problems. Instead, she appreciated Dan Roemer being honest and open. Currently, Dan still has to carefully watch his diabetes. He took the doctor's scary prediction and made necessary life-altering changes, even to the point of stepping away from his work to focus on prioritizing his health. Unmistakably, the shocking report jolted Dan into learning and finding ways to turn his health journey around. Although the tremors still occur and life looked different, He is embracing the gift of every moment being precious. Without a doubt, he adores his 2 daughters and his dog too. His daughter signed him up to meet Joan and chase love. Admittedly, Dan knows there are challenges, but he isn't letting it define him. He says, everybody's got something, especially at our age. We've got aches, pains, health issues, whatever. But it's just life, so own it, deal with it. And sharing it with the whole audience feels good. It's invigorating. But Joan was gracious when learning about Dan's struggles. He was concerned about the vulnerability of allowing people to know. She says,